Here's your host, Dalton Pence.
Thanksgiving week, Card Nation, it's game day once again. Thank goodness Louisville basketball bringing the joy this holiday season. Super thankful for Pat Kelsey's team. Thanks for tuning in to another week's edition of Mondays with Dalton Pence here on Big X Sports Radio, brought to you by the Collier Law Firm. Dalton Pence, Roman Kelly, and Matt Childress taking you up till 7 o'clock. Well, technically not. Myself and Roman will take you up to about 6:15, and then Matt will take you home at 7. Roman and I are both heading down to the KFC Yum Center tonight, where Louisville will host Eastern Michigan, looking to move to 6-0 on the season. Fellas, we'll start out this way. It is Thanksgiving week. Without saying a coach or a team or Michael Brown Jr. / Ryan Conwell, what are you most thankful for the Louisville sports realm in this past, let's say, since August, this athletic calendar? What are you thankful for the most? That's not super obvious. Like, you can't say, I'm thankful for basketball. Well, duh. Thankful for Mike Hill. Duh.
I'm just thankful that all the sports are relevant again.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
They're all relevant. You know, men's soccer, women's soccer did really well this season. Volleyball just didn't even lose a step, switching from Danny Busman Kelly to Dan Meskey. Softball looks like they're running pretty good again. Baseball looks like they're reloading all over again. Like you said, we're not going to see her just goo goo gaga over basketball just yet, but they're better than we've seen them in a long time. Football obviously having a collapsing of a season, but gave us some really good hope. We played meaningful football all the way up until November, which was good, but it feels good to be back where all three of us at least grew up in for a very long time, where Louisville sports were just good. No matter what it was, you went and watched, you knew you were going to have fun. It's good to be back.
I'm thankful for the win against Kentucky.
Okay.
I won't say that's what I'm thankful for the most. So I'm trying to differentiate. Can you imagine with the spiraling that the football season has done, how, like, worse off we would be in terms of the vibes if you hadn't won that game against Kentucky? Because most of the people that I've talked to, I get a little bit of a vibe check. I ask some of my friends, I ask some people in the group chat, what are your thoughts going on right now? Like, be much worse if we didn't beat Kentucky. And my thought was, yeah, you're not lying. I mean, I think that Louisville basketball season wouldn't be over if you didn't beat Kentucky, but still, it is nice to pull off that victory against your rival. 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line, to get any thoughts in on what/who you're most thankful for in this Louisville athletic calendar fall leading up to the winter, of course. I think Matt and what's your co-host name?
Grant.
Grant, what's the podcast name? I always forget.
The Upper Deck.
There you go, the Upper Deck. Matt and Grant will tell you a little bit more about the football matchup. We're going to start out kind of in an overall sense. You know, when it rains, it pours. That mantra ringing extra true for this football end of the season. Feels like we are one more injury notification away before I'm telling Matt to go out and start taking some snaps right next to Miller Moss or Deuce Adams, whoever's the quarterback on Saturday. Because it's been a while since Louisville has been this hurt offensively. Like, I can't think of a time where Louisville's been this hurt. And they are legitimate injuries, guys. I've had people ask me, oh, is this a phantom injury because guys are quitting? No. You could see last game when Chris Bell got hurt. Isaac Brown, you saw when that happened. You saw when Keewan got hurt. You saw when Duke got hurt. Like, these aren't phantom injuries of guys quitting. Not at all. But Eric Crawford tweeted out that you're likely going to be missing your top 3 running backs this week. Chris Bell is out. Colin Lacey, I mean, he got hurt. You don't know who your quarterback is. Your offensive line play is not the greatest. Like, this is – what's the over-under for this game?
It
Is it 21 and a half?
This game deserves, and I'm not speaking towards
I've got to look that up. What
this
is that?
game deserves to end 7-6. Whoever wins,
It's
nobody.
like Iowa football.
Yes, like nobody deserves to put points up in this game. I know Kentucky is also
47.5.
That's ridiculous. Who's going to score those? Deuce Adams going to throw up 21 points and touchdowns?
We're going to need one of those vintage interceptions. I would imagine Cutter Bowley's playing. I mean, he came back in against Vanderbilt.
The dude almost broke his neck and they still put him back in. I can imagine he's probably going to play.
What are your vibes around that game? Because I feel a very certain way, and I hate it.
Numb.
I hate it.
Numb. Like, I've had to send text messages to, like, Roman included today, completely forgot the game was even on Saturday. I guess I'm so caught up.
But
I'm so caught up in basketball right now.
Here. I didn't watch SMU.
the
Watch the highlights.
47.5.
That's what you just said.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking it up. Rome, is that one of your big bets, like slam the under in this game?
It definitely, I'm not going to hop on the +2.5 or +3.5.
Kentucky money line looks really good.
It would be the money line if I bet them. But I under 40. There's no way these two teams score a total of 48 points.
I don't know. With the way that our secondary looked last against SMU.
If you took the alternate total points and you put it at 21.5, it would be like the under 21.5 would be plus 1,700. The over is minus 10,000, so 10 pays 10 cents, which is pretty wild. Like I said, 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line. Let's switch over to some positive notes. It wasn't positive to start. Louisville couldn't buy a bucket to start the game on Friday night. That was pretty miserable to watch the start of that game, watching the Cardinals just miss shots. It kind of comes down to, someone asked me, well, do you think Wes Miller is out coaching Pat Kelsey? No, Louisville's just not making shots. Coaches can't make players hit shots, guys. But I have a take on this, and I want to get your all's opinion. I think this type of a win was needed. I don't think it's all going to be smooth sailing for the entire year. You're going to have some nights where you don't shoot the ball that well, and Louisville shot under 40% from the field, under 30% from three. Just wasn't a pretty game offensively, wasn't a pretty game defensively, and they just found ways to win. And that's what matters. And I think that as you go on through the non-con schedule, you're going to play some tough teams. And you go through the season as a whole, I think getting this type of victory to where, hey, look, when you're firing on all cylinders, probably not many teams in the country that can beat you. But I want to see when adversity does strike, when you do find yourself trailing by double digits, how are you going to respond? And I was extremely encouraged by the body language of the team. There was no pouting or panicking or anything like that. Like, this team was ready. Ryan Conwell had a couple of big-time buckets. I thought, guys, that this type of win was needed at some point this season, and what better way than having a vintage, physical, old-time Big East rivalry game?
Yeah, not only did we need it as a team, I think the fans needed it too, Dalton.
I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that.
Well,
I would much rather it be
think about all of the last times Louisville basketball has lost, during and before the Pat Kelsey era, in games in which we get off to a deficit. It's an early deficit. We kind of try to claw back, but ultimately we are not able to ever get over the hump in these kinds of games. Mm-hmm. This is a game where I never felt like we weren't going to be able to. I mean, we were down 17-6, and I've got the utmost confidence in our ability to go out there and continue to find good open shots, continue to be patient in our offense, and continue to defend very hard. Granted, there were some wavering moments in that first half, but ultimately they hadn't seen aggression like that. They hadn't seen length like that, and they were able to combat both without going out of Louisville basketball in the way that they like to play. They just had a couple of different guys have to do some different things for us. A couple guys stepped up defensively, and you had complete buy-in from everyone who touched the floor with what they were trying to do out there, which is critical. And it just feels really nice to see us go down, have a deficit against a team that technically is more athletic than us and longer than us, and go out there and still be the more skilled, more fundamentally sound team and get a win.
Yeah, I liked what adding to that point, was particularly interested to see how Louisville was going to try to counteract the Cincinnati front court with Baba Miller and Mustafa Cham. Baba Miller 6'11", Cham is I think like 7'2". one of those types of players. Like, okay, how's Sananda Faru going to play? How is Louisville going to try to penetrate to the lane and get to the basket? I also think that Cincinnati tried to pull a page out of the Kansas playbook, and they got physical with Michael. Say, hey, every time you touch the ball, we're right there. We're going to hand check you. We're going to pick you up full court. We're going to try to speed you up and get you flustered and take some bad shots. And he did that in the first half. Thought he settled in the second half. Of course, that sequence where he banged the deep three, got the steal, got the breakaway dunk. You can see that even when he's not playing good, 22 points, like 5 and 6 or something like that. I also think that these types of games are necessary for Michael to grow, Matt.
No, I mean, I think so as well. I mean, yeah, he didn't necessarily on paper settle into the game until the second half, but even this was a completely different Michael than we saw in the Kansas game.
Yeah.
Because in the Kansas game, we saw him get sped up. You saw he was trying to hit the big shot. He was trying to play some hero ball. You can tell he's the kind of player that like he just needs to see one go in, and then he gets going.
I agree.
He didn't do that, though, this game. He took those shots. He kept shooting, but he didn't stick to them. When he realized the shot wasn't going in, he got to the line extremely effectively.
Yeah. Opened up shots for his teammates as well.
It was one of those things where, like, gosh, nobody besides Ryan Conwell is getting it going, and you look at the box score, and you're like, oh, my gosh, Michael Brown has 17 points. How's Michael Brown have 17 points? You look at him, he's 9 from 10 from the line. It's showing you that within 5 games that this kid is maturing at an exponential rate, and a lot of that has to do with Pat Kelsey. I know that he's talked about getting into him in some of those moments and, trying to bring him back down to earth. He kind of knows how good he is and keeping him humble on a roster that has players like Ryan Conwell, who is going to break some player of the year top 10s at some point. He's a dude who we'll see a 30 ball out of this man and be like, that was the most calm, collected 30 ball I've ever seen.
I had a Kentucky fan reach out to me. He's a good friend of mine. We're in a group chat, and he said after the Louisville-Kentucky game, he's like, there's no shot Michael scores 29 in the game again. And I'm like, just wait. This guy's going to have a 30 ball. He might be flirting with
42 and off night.
But here's the thing. There's a beauty in the way that Michael attacked the basket on Friday. Because we mentioned the free throws, and you kind of go through the course of the game, and you have to watch it, right? When you see, it's this fallacy, and I think that, I hate to say it because I'm a Houston Rockets fan, that James Harden kind of created this. And now you have SGA, and maybe there's some truth to it with them foul baiting, but I think people just associate a large amount of free throws with just selling out and baiting fouls. No, Michael, when his shot's not falling, he does a good job of taking it to the basket. Don't forget, this guy is 6'5". He's not a small guard. He might not be like the bulkiest, strongest guard, but with his shiftiness and length, like he's shown the ability to say, hey, look, when my three-point shot's not falling, I can get downhill and get to the basket and get to the line to where maybe my shot's not falling, but I'm manufacturing offense a certain way. And guys, it just keeps playing into this point that I'm making is that this win was almost, in a way, more impressive to me than the Kentucky win because most of your shots were falling. You did shoot only 32%, but there was a portion of that game where you were really playing well. You were playing with the lead. You were a front runner. But now, like Rome said, I agree to the point with the fan base. It's like, yeah, when everything's going good, it's awesome, but adversity's going to strike this year. There's going to be games where you go on the road in conference play and you're not going to be playing up to your potential. There could be games in the tournament. I mean, I think of the 2013 national championship team, and I think about the fact that they were losing to Wichita State by double digits in the second half. And I look to the point when the Oregon game was close in the Sweet 16. Duke was close going into the Elite Eight. And
you could look at Florida the year before
Michigan.
that.
Michigan in the title game. I mean, you saw it with Florida this year. The best teams don't get rattled when adversity hits. You get down by double digits, like, okay, guys, we just got to lock in more. And I get this is a small sample size. I'm not sure how good Cincinnati's going to be. I think they were Ken Palm number 2 defensive rated for a reason. I think they're going to be a very good defensive team. I think their offensive ceiling might hold them back from being really good in the Big 12. But I think just the fact that you got this comeback victory, just the fact that as frustrating as it was that you didn't hit your first field goal until almost the second media timeout, you still said, you know what? We're going to play free. That's why you go out and you bring in veterans that have been that don't go out and get $20 million worth of role players that haven't been that guy before. Go out and get the guys that A, fit your system, and B, have been those big shot guys. Ryan Conwell, exhibit A, B, C, D as to why you go get a player like him out of the portal.
He's been there. He's done that.
Exactly.
He's done it at a high level.
Has there been a player within your all's memory of your lifetime? This might be me jumping the gun like crazy.
I feel like you're about to have a wildly hot take.
I'm going to. I'll say it. I do not care. Is there a player that you feel more comfortable with the basketball in his hands that Louisville has played for than Ryan Conwell at this moment?
I mean, I think the answer is yes, but I mean, Chucky last year for sure. I think if we get to a season where what is it, November 24th? If it's like January 24th and he's still doing what he's doing at the same rate, I think you have a real conversation. I think that
because I mean, at all levels,
Donovan as a sophomore, I think, was one of those guys. The issue is that on those Patino teams, you rarely ever had like one guy that you had to have go off like that, and those teams weren't really offensively great. They were great defensive teams. It was a very, I mean, I'm thinking back. I mean, Russ Smith is one of those guys. I mean, even when he wasn't shooting well, he's a guy that could score 40 on any given night. That one season, what was it, 15 with Terry? Like Terry had one of those seasons. Donovan in 17. Outside of that, like since 2017, I think the only other guy that you can go with would be like a Chucky Hepburn. The issue with Jordan Nwora is I felt like he disappeared in the big games.
Yeah.
Like a good amount of the big games. Now, there were some where he played well, but in Louisville's biggest games in his career, it felt like Jordan Nwora didn't shoot the ball particularly well.
You weren't sure what he was going to do when he got the ball.
So I can't really go with
seemed like he really
Jordan.
Wanted the ball that much in those games either.
I mean, he had a great career. The issue is that, I mean, when we played the top teams, it was like, what are we doing here?
He just kind of he just kind of showed up. That was about it. Like he was on the floor, he played, he would make he would score like decently, but he was more of that nobody team. I'm going to drop 35 in this game and wake everybody up all over again, and then we would play like decent ACC competition, and it would kind of be a win by committee, whereas Jordan Nwora would kind of like find his place.
I tell you, it's throwing me off that
NBA champion though.
Yeah, it's throwing me off. Like going a little bit off topic at the moment. We're watching the Maui Invitational in studio right now. USC and Boise State are playing. But this Players Era tournament, is that who you're watching right now?
No, I'm watching St. John's Iowa State.
What's the score of that game?
Iowa State's up 247-45.
It's Players Era.
Yeah, the Players Era is that in the Players Era though?
I think so. I'm pretty sure it is.
I love that Louisville's in the Players Era next year. Like I think that this tournament is just big time. It is. Iowa and St. John's, or Iowa State and St. John's are in the Players Era. But we've already seen Tennessee, Rutgers, St. John's, Iowa State. Tennessee looks pretty solid at the moment. Louisville plays them here in a couple weeks. They are 6-0. They haven't played any great teams. Like Rutgers is I would say the most name brand team that they played, and they just got beat by double digits against Central Connecticut.
Yeah, they're not good.
So
we'll know Tuesday when Tennessee sees Houston, I believe.
Yeah, they got Houston tomorrow night. This is what we're here for. This is Feast Week Hoops, chat.
It is. Especially when the teams you have on your schedule are playing this week, and you're not in one of these kind of tournaments.
Yeah, but let me ask you all this: are you kind of okay with playing two?
Yes. Mike
games?
didn't agree with me on the. Oh wait. Well, I'm okay with not being in a tournament when our non-con slate looks that way it does pretty much immediately after this week.
I agree. I think because you've had Cincinnati Friday, next Tuesday or Wednesday you've got Arkansas, and then after that it's Indiana. I'm perfectly fine with two, what should be gimme games. I'm not going to say they are because that's how you pull a Drexel and lose in 2010, but I'm perfectly fine with just being a spectator for good hoops this week and not stressing about it until next week, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I feel. Because you're going to be in this tournament next year. I would imagine that next year your non-conference schedule is going to chill out just a tad because you're going to play better teams than that. So you won't have you probably won't have a Players Era festival where you're playing good teams, and then, oh, by the way, after that, you've got Tennessee, Arkansas, Indiana, Memphis. But let's see. Did Louisville move up in the rankings at all?
No, they're still at 6.
Absolutely.
They're 5th in the coaches poll, but they're still 6th in AP.
Who's ahead of Louisville? Hold on.
Houston, Duke.
Purdue, Arizona, Houston, Duke, and Connecticut. Connecticut lost last week, and they
Only
dropped
team-
2 spots. I mean, I don't hate it, man.
Only team you just named there that isn't above us in KenPom.
I was surprised
UConn?
that
Yep.
we didn't pass UConn because if that was an away game, it'd be different. But they lost at home. I get it's a great Arizona team and it was really close, but you lost at home.
I mean, Arizona's top 5.
They are.
How far do you drop them then? If you're number 3,
I mean,
how
not
do you
far,
drop
but I
them?
mean we were right outside.
I don't disagree.
Maybe you flop us.
Like 5 and 6,
Yeah.
but Louisville 5. I mean, yeah, I don't mind with that. The good news for Louisville is that, I mean, well, maybe it's not good news, but UConn is at Illinois this week. Illinois is a top 15 squad. So we'll see how that ends up going. But, yeah, I'm all for the calm before the storm here with Louisville basketball, especially with how the football season has kind of spiraled. And I will say this, because Rome and I won't really talk about football much on this show because we're going to preview the EMU game coming up in the next segment. The way that the Cardinals approach this offseason is going to tell us so much about the direction of where this program's going. I feel like this offseason is one of the more critical off seasons in a very, very long time. Because here you are, you're on a skid to end the season. You already lose a lot of guys after the year. You're losing commitments in the portal, or not the portal class, the high school class.
Dudes who had their
Karsten Bush
commitment
just
shut down.
decommitted. I don't believe in recruitment shutting down. I'm sorry, I just don't believe.
I
that.
get that, but what was it?
It's the same thing. Like
3 weeks ago, he literally announced it was
1,000%
shut
committed.
down.
Like, what's the difference between being 100% and 1,000% committed, especially if you just
Nothing.
decommit? And it's nothing like against the player. I'm not calling the player out. I'm just saying, like, it's so silly to me that players have to shut down their commitments. Like, that, it goes beyond the term of commitment, right? And I don't want to be like old man yells at cloud here, but, like, what's the point of making a commitment if you're not fully committed? 100% committed. Oh, well, I need to shut my recruitment down. Why?
I don't know. I get that circumstances change and things can happen. There's obviously something going on behind closed doors that we don't know about right now because that's the 3rd commitment in, 8 days that we've lost. This is the era of sports where, or at least in college football, where you're going to see changes be made at an astronomical rate. These are the moments that, this is where your job kind of lands on. Somebody on the staff is going to have to take some accountability for stuff like this. I mean, if FSU is keeping Mike Norvell right now, nobody should be questioning if Jeff Brom is going to be here, this and that.
No, Jeff Brom is.
He's not going anywhere.
There's a -% chance that Brom
He's not going anywhere.
that he gets fired. Like I guess he could leave for a different job, but at this point, you see what they've done the past 3 weeks. You have to imagine the Penn State interest is cooled.
This is what
I wonder how this affects the extension and the raise too.
I asked that to Roman a little bit, or I said that to Roman a little bit ago. Is just 3 weeks ago, Jeff Brom held all the cards in this.
Yeah.
He could ask for hell and back if he wanted to. I want to know what the conversation.
Could ask for bats season tickets.
I want to know
You could tell
what
Josh
the
Hurt to fire
conversation.
Pat Kelsey. You'd have to hear him out.
I want
Okay,
just
bro.
want to know what the conversation
Have some
between him
shame.
and
Take a
Josh
lap,
Hurt
bro.
sound like at this moment. Like, how much is this flipped? How much is going on? Like, okay, Jeff. I mean,
Yeah, you wonder like what's Hurt's stance here? Is he sitting there like, yeah, I mean, this is just kind of one of those, it happens. Your team's injured, or is he sitting there like, well, this is what you wanted. You had schools after you, and now you lost to a team that you were a 20-point favorite to. You lost to a team that was sub 500, and now you got absolutely embarrassed on the road at SMU. I mean, what?
and now
what's the game plan here? I think I think what I want to see is I want to see alignment. Like there has to be more of a priority of football, I think. I think that you have to increase NIL. I think that there needs to be a conversation about the assistant coaching staff. I mean, I won't go into detail, but I think that there has to be some sort of conversation where you might have to make some tweaks, some changes. You may have to. I have been a huge advocate for ramping up the investing in the recruiting department. Yeah. I think that needs some work, but I also think there has to be an alignment. Staff. It starts with Jeff Brom. Has to be in alignment with Vince Morrow, Jeff Brom, and people say, well, Vince Morrow needs to be able to do his job. Well, I think that comes with the head man. Like, are you going to prioritize high school recruiting now? Like, what's the split, right? Are you, because you have to go big time portal this year, and I think that the offseason looks the way it does right now is because you've gone so portal heavy over the first 3 off seasons that you've had. So, I mean, there's going to be some interesting conversations in the winter because there has to be, because there's a way that you can put your best foot forward and go in the right direction, but there's also an equal way to where you can kind of be complacent at the moment and be where you're at the. Like, I know that injuries hurt and everything, but guys, you're replacing a good amount of guys next year, so we'll see how that works. But let's go ahead and go to break. Top of the hour. We're going to preview everything you need to know about the Cardinals' opponent tonight. They're hosting the Eastern Michigan Eagles, and we'll preview everything you need to know coming up. You're tuned into Big X Sports Radio. Top of the hour here on Mondays with Dalton Pence on the Big X Sports Radio. Dalton Pence, Roman Kelly, Matt Childress taking you up till 7 o'clock. Roman and I will be out of here after this segment as we head down to the KFC Yum Center. Louisville is hosting Eastern Michigan tonight, looking to move to 6-0 on the season. The Cardinals, like the first two games of the year, they are a 33.5-point favorite. Over-under is 162.5. Rome, give me a vibe check.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really, really excited overall. When was the last time we were 6-0, Dalton?
What is
2019?
Was it 2019-20?
I believe so. So we have the chance to go and have be on start for one of the better seasons we've had in quite some time, which is exciting. We've already kind of there, really, if I'm being honest. The way that we're performing in this 5-0 has us all feeling like this is one of the best teams in the nation. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is the best backcourt in the nation. Not only that, I think it's the best group of guards altogether when you look at McNeely and Woolley as well, which kind of goes into the backcourt. But when you say backcourt, you think about the two starting guards in Michael and Conwell and what they're averaging. McNeely obviously is that third guard who's starting, is playing more of a wing role, though, obviously, and not many ball handling duties for us. I just love it. I love the way that we can go and attack teams. I love that we can actually defend with versatility. We can switch stuff, which is nice. Wasn't a whole lot of that going on last year. And in the games that we've had against these kinds of opponents, Dalton, we've been handling business. And I'm not taking that for granted anymore. So I get up for these kinds of games now because not very long ago, we weren't even wanting to cut the TV on for these kinds of games. And now we're winning them the way we should be. So I'm going to continue to cherish that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really that long ago where we used to
lose these games.
Be sweating these types of games out. But Eastern Michigan is 3-2 on the season. They opened up the year with a win over Georgia State. They lost at Pittsburgh by 12. Gives you a little bit of reference point. They haven't played an ACC team. They lost to IU Indy. And then they beat Detroit Mercy, and they beat Oakland. They are in the MAC, which is the same conference that Ohio is in. Ohio, even though you beat them by about, 25 points, that game was still kind of competitive because you had to still play defense against Ohio. And the Bobcats are now 1-4. Like, they have struggled. Eastern Michigan is 3-2. I know early on in the season can't really put too much into that. One thing that I mentioned on my podcast is that this is a taller team. You've got a lot of length in the front court. They lost their top 4 scorers from a year ago, 4 double-digit scoring guys. They have 9 newcomers, so pretty similar to what we have. But Muhammad Habab is going to be the guy that you have to focus on here, 6'9", 205, 16, 10, and 4. Transferred in from Central Michigan. You have the New Orleans transfer. I think it's Carlos Hart is his name, if I'm not mistaken, and then Addison Patterson coming over from Northwestern State. So it's a lot of transfer portal production that Stan Heath has got this season. They don't really do anything that jumps off of the page particularly. They're a decent three-point shooting team. I think that you have to run them off the three-point line. Matt made a comment during the break, and when you were favored to beat a team by almost 35 points, yes, the outcome is that the expected outcome is that you beat them by pretty close to that spread. Like, you don't want a 15-point win. You don't want to struggle. You don't want to be losing halfway through the first half. If you handle business, you beat them by 30. You can't really complain about much. I'm more so watching individual performances. I'm watching, okay, how is this team defending? And I think that's the main thing you're focusing on with this game. How is this team defending? Are they giving up open shots? There's one aspect that I really want to see Louisville improve on. I'm going to give you all an opportunity to kind of speak your piece here in a second, and I will introduce that afterward. But I think defense is the main thing that I'm looking at.
No, I mean, you're right. It's especially coming off of your game against Ohio. You felt kind of uneasy about the offense that we gave up to Ohio, who came out and kind of punched you in the mouth. Now, they never, made it really a tough game, but you were kind of surprised as to the energy they brought in that matchup. And there was a lot of questions just like, okay, there's a lot of open shots. They're hitting a lot of tough shots. How can we do against a team that really excels offensively, especially in a top 25 setting or in March? I think that Cincinnati kind of helped answer some of those questions for me. We seemed to pick up our defensive intensity in the second half of that game. And where Cincinnati's not a great offense, we kind of shut down a lot of their lanes and a lot of their routes to score and force them to make a lot of those tough shots. So that's something that I'll be looking for is, yes, I know that when you're playing such a high-paced offense and playing a lot of transition, you're just going to give up open shots sometimes when you're playing that many possessions. I want to see how we effectively work in those closeouts and those switches and getting into our assignments earlier, because that's been our number one issue in this season. And if you want to, if the spread is 34.5, if you want to hit that number, you're going to have to give up less of those open shots. It sounds really simple. You just stop the team from making more shots. But in a game like this, that's really what you're looking for.
Wrong.
The energy level, when you do get off to that lead that we hope that they can get to, we've already seen them have a game in which you come off of a big victory and you go and you don't have that same level of intensity to start your game the next game after after the Kentucky game. Right, you see a bit of a drop-off in talent going up against Ohio, but you still stayed on the gas. You stayed your foot on the brakes. It's kind of similar to what Matt's saying overall, not necessarily just on the defensive side as well, but taking good shots just because you got off to a lead against a team you know you can beat. I don't want to see a let-up in the sets. I don't want to see a let-up in shot selection. I don't want to see a let-up in the patience either. With that being said, I want to see the guys that don't play a lot of minutes come in and provide that spark, provide that energy, provide that rhythm, and stay in rhythm as well, right? Kanai, we're going to need him down the line. This is a Kanai game. Come in, get yours, get your points, get your buckets, fill that lane correctly. Another game in which I feel like just the Zugris, Kanai, Woolley, seeing the production from them be at the level you want it to be, because there's going to be games where you will have to rely on them based on the matchup, right? A Cincinnati game in which Javon Hadley wasn't providing a whole lot for you on the offensive and defensive, and you had a Kanai come in and he made a couple good decisions offensively. I want to see that continue to get turned up, and that starts with these kinds of games. Unfortunately, probably ends this week as well with NJIT and not really seeing very many opponents like this after the fact. With that being said, these are your last two games to go and get everybody right, not just your main guys.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. Of course, Roman and I will be heading out after this commercial break, and then we'll have Matt Childress and Grant Skaggs taking you up till 7 o'clock tonight. I'll give it over to Grant while we're all four in
Introduce
studio.
Grant in here.
Yeah, Grant, one of the hosts of, actually, I think there was only two hosts of the Upper Deck podcast that my guy, producer Matt, and Grant both host. That's a great show if you all want to go check out some more content. Grant, what are you mainly looking forward to in this game for Louisville, in a game where you're supposed to win by, upwards of 30 points?
Yeah, you'll kind of hit the nail on the head as far as the overall defensive intensity. Eastern Michigan, they're not a very high volume 3-point shooting team. I kind of expect us to play the same way we kind of played UK and really pack the paint out. Mac's a pretty big guard who likes to get in down low and kind of mess over with his left hand, get in the post. And the big guy, he's kind of like to sit in no man's lane a lot of time off the pick and pass. He's a really good passer from up top, but I really just want to see more out of our backup bigs more than anything. Frew's been really growing into his game week in and week out. Ollie, I need to see more from Ollie.
Yeah.
The lack of physicality. It seems like if he's not giving you those 5 or 6 backdoor passes, you're really missing out of that spot where I almost would like to see Zugris come in a little bit more, whether that's him playing off the ball action, setting screens, getting rebounds, being a little bit more of a tough man. But Ollie's really got to show us something on the inside. The amount of bunnies he's missed over the last 2 or 3 games is starting to get starting to make the vein in my forehead pop out a little bit more than I would like to hope for. But I really want to see something out of the bigs. I think you'll see Roos kind of get back into his groove a little bit more. He's been kind of taking a back seat over the last couple games because, y'all have talked about it. This backcourt is crazy. It's deep, and they play all 3 levels of the ball. And again, if I were a betting man, which I am, I'd probably put a lot of my money on Isaac to go at least hit his over for the game.
Yeah, I think one thing that I kind of mentioned that it's a small detail, but it could pay off dividends for our overall defense. One thing that it was an issue last year, and James Scott could kind of mitigate it, but it's an issue this year when teams, because they high ball screen the hell out of Louisville, because the big man who's guarding the ball screen, you can tell that they're trying to hedge the ball handler, and they go pretty far up court. And what that does is it takes them out of the play. So they're having to try to get back into coverage. Chances are they're not really able to. I think that this is kind of what Ollie's struggling at. He's getting almost kind of thrown out on an island. He's trying to come back, and they're hunting that. So they're throwing it down there, and it's causing the help side defense to have to rotate down. And what happens? Then the guy in the corner's open for an open three because the help side defense had to rotate. So now you got two guys that are in the paint. They're defending, but they're late. They're late to the play, and it's just getting kicked out for an open shot. If we can find a way to tinker with that to where, okay, maybe I'm hedging the ball handler, but it's not so much to where, like, I'm subduing their action and causing them to go and make a read, but I'm still dropping back pretty quickly because James Scott struggled with this too. Yeah. And it seems like this is a point of emphasis to what Pat Kelsey's trying to push because everyone's doing it. I don't care who the big man defending is. That's what's happening, and teams are just kind of preying on that and saying, okay, if you're going to do that, well, we're going to bust that coverage open, and they've done that. I think that Louisville needs to do a better job of counteracting that. And if they can do that, that's just one aspect of it. But you're seeing Louisville's big men get thrown into those ball screens, especially Ali Khalifa, very, very frequently in games. That's why I think the Cincinnati game you're talking about, why is Ali Khalifa's defensive reps looking so badly?
He's caught out of position a lot.
When
he comes up for that pick and roll, he's almost like in mid jog trying to get to the spot, and he loses the corner almost immediately every time. Part of that, some of his strides, the guy, like, even when he runs, people have been kind of dogging him a little bit over the last couple weeks. He's a very short strided guy. He doesn't really stretch a ton. Where Fru's been getting a lot better in terms of his drop coverage. He can cover a lot of space and recover really well.
He's gotten better on his feet week in, week out.
Yeah, but Ollie, he's honestly he's probably 2 steps behind realistically off the pick and roll. The part he just needs to prep himself for the pick and roll a little bit better. Whether he needs to have a large push off, because it just seems like he meets the ball handler and he's just nice and upright, and he's almost like in a mid jogging stance, and he gets beat every time off it.
It feels like this was. I mean, we saw it a lot last year with Pat Kelsey's defense, and you mentioned James Scott struggled with it early on as well. And throughout the season, we kind of adapted it to kind of meet James Scott's speed, and we used dudes like Javon Hadley and Kanai later down the road to kind of fill in those roles to give James Scott extra time, whether they were coming in and helping from the opposite wing to kind of pressure that man down low so you couldn't just dip it off to when he's getting back. We kind of saw that a little bit in the Cincinnati game where you saw the big man for U of L get more help, and it became more of a communal defense. So I feel like we're going to start pushing towards that, whereas instead of speeding the defense up, you're going to see a lot more switching from other positions, which is going to kind of put us into some rough matchups sometimes. But I feel like we're playing each team based on what they're giving us in terms of their size and their athleticism. And Pat Kelsey, more of what we thought of, he's just going to kind of run out rotations out there, 4 or 5 guys deep. It seems like he's more meticulous this year. This is what we wanted to see last year, but we weren't able to because of the injury bug.
We got more than 6 players.
Yeah, we got more than 6 dudes who can play now. So it's really settling for me to see that a team that is so high-powered on offense, your questions were on defense, that Pat Kelsey is systemically adjusting early in games within the first media timeout to try and not only just stop the other team from scoring or slow down their pace, but adjust to how your own team is playing as well.
I'm going to give you all a scenario before we head to break, and we'll have to kind of go down the line quickly. Take out Michael, Conwell, McNeely, and Fru, and you have to pick one player that you would then bet is going to score in double digits. Who would it be?
Adrian Woolley.
Yeah. Nice
Tonight?
question.
Yes. No, Wednesday, Rome.
I mean, if you meant like in general.
No, I mean, yeah, tonight.
Javon Hadley. He's bouncing back tonight.
Okay, I can see that too.
I like it.
I can see that
like
too.
it.
I'm going to give you an underrated answer. Give me Iguodala. Give me Kobe Rogers.
Yeah.
I think that this could be a game where he plays later in the game, because if Louisville's blowing EMU out, then you're going to see some of the give me all the Evangelist Zugras stock you can. 10 plus from
The tighter the
Zugras.
jersey, the better.
Yeah, the 8-foot floater galore.
No, I think that there's a very good chance that all 5 starters could be in double digits for the Cardinals in this game. I'd also like to see Cason Pryor get some minutes like he did against Ohio, to where he had about 15. to 16 minutes. But regardless, I trust this team to step out with energy and effort, just like I trust the Collier Law Firm to step up and show out when it's time to represent you when you get hurt at the job or on the way to the job. Because Tony has memorized the opposing playbook. He's played for the other team, so he knows how these big insurance company operates. More importantly, what that means is he knows how to get you paid. He's got your back, not your wallet. Lower fees, more for you. Give the Collier Law Firm a call at 502-736-8141 or visit collierlawfirm.com. Don't go anywhere. Matt and Grant will have you covered all the way up till 7 o'clock when the Cardinals tee off against EMU.
Just the Cats with Michael Bennett.
I still look back at how UK played against U of L and how certain players played against Eastern Illinois. And I still have those same concerns. So going into tonight's game, I'm equally as worried about how those players are going to perform and whether that equates into a win or a loss more than I am anything else. Is that fair to say?
Weekday mornings at 8, followed by Spears on Sports at 10 on the Big X Sports Radio.
The plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC technicians of Local 502's commitment to excellence can be seen in our community every day. The KFC Yum Center, Ford Motor Company, and the Omni Hotel are just a few examples of their professional craftsmanship. Local 502 has been part of our community for over a century and invests over $1 million annually training skilled local workers. Members of Local 502 are your friends, neighbors, and children's coaches. For more information, go to lu502.com. Local 502, built on excellence, building a better tomorrow.
Hi, this is Dalton Pence with Big X Sports Radio with a message to you from Collier Law Firm. Have you been injured in an accident or on the job? The Collier Law Firm's got your back. The Collier Law Firm is more than just a typical injury law firm. It's a team of former insurance defense attorneys and paralegals with unbeaten experience. And
7, but can't complain, my man.
Well, it's great to have you on. You and I have been doing the podcast for, a little while now. We started it back when the NBA playoffs are still going on. It's crazy to think that it's already been that long that we've been doing that. Doing it pretty regularly, too. If you guys ever want to listen in, it's the Upper Deck podcast you can get it anywhere you get your podcast. Listen to me and Grant just banter, talk crap back and forth all the time, scream whenever you want. But we're going to do a little screaming to start this segment off. Dalton kind of alluded to it as well as Roman. We didn't really get into any of the football stuff. And Grant, I know you as well as I got a lot of takes on this. Before we get into the specific stuff, why don't you go ahead and give me your first thoughts of what you had to witness, the absolute debacle, malpractice of coaching of football, you would say, on Saturday?
Man, for the first time, Ron English couldn't really pull us through. And, Ron English is about 2 games away from us building a statue outside the stadium from what he went through all of last year. But, so many injuries on this team. To be honest, I wasn't too mad with how Deuce played. Was able to hit the intermediate routes. Short routes weren't too bad. Was off. His timing was a little bit off on slants, but can't complain too much. Again, I think we've gone another week where we might have thrown it over 10 yards 3 times.
Which is disappointing because the whole thing about Deuce Adams, so the dude's got a freaking cannon on him.
And honestly, yes, I remember. I think both of them were on back-to-back plays. I remember he hit Chris Bell for one, and I immediately texted you, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've seen this. But, hopefully he gets another shot at it this weekend against the school from up the road. But, dude, it seems like every hour I've checked my phone, it's just bad news, followed by more bad news. It's been ridiculous today.
No, like you said, it's every 5 minutes. You start off with all the injuries that are coming out before the injury report, okay? Before that comes out, even on Wednesday, which makes all year, Jeff Brom has waited till the last possible minute to talk about injuries, but now we're just dropping them on day 1 of the week. We're not even letting Louisville fans contemplate of these players playing. Chris Bell out with an injury. Colin Lacey looks like he's probably out. We'll find out more on Wednesday when they do drop the initial report. Isaac Brown out, obviously.
The entire running back room
is out. It's one of those where the trend of Miller Moss coming back is going upward right now, which I think a lot of Louisville fans are not happy about, especially when during the SMU game, like you said, it wasn't the greatest vision of football you've ever seen, but Deuce Adams was kind of your light at the end of the tunnel. Like when the good spurts for him were great, and you were really happy to see that this guy is adapting. He knows a bunch of the playbook. On his short passes, he was confident in them. When he needed to use his legs, he was decisive, and he was running with conviction. He was putting his body on the line out there. He looked like a dude who wanted to play. And a lot of the guys out there as well, whether on offense or defense, didn't have that same trait.
And, people have been giving him some flack over the weekend because, he has had some, good time in this program to really kind of develop behind the backups. But you wish he could have shown more. But, really, it just feels like he's kind of handicapped right now. Running game was very obsolete. We had to throw Lacey back there for a couple of days. And then I don't know what about the running room is cursed, but he got hurt like two or three plays later as soon as he went to the running back position. But a lot of his weapons weren't there. He's having a lot of balls batted at the line. But at least when it comes to him, you got 2 things. You got the big can of the arm. He displayed it a couple times and made some really good throws down the field. But the main thing that I would rather see him this Saturday over the Miller, it's the athletic ability. He has the legs to really do whatever he pleases in terms of escaping the pocket. And give credit where credit's due. Kentucky's had a pretty decent defense this year in terms of getting after it at the line of scrimmage, and we're going to need all we can because I don't know if I can take Miller dancing, quote unquote, in the pocket and just taking careless sacks.
No, I wouldn't be able to even look. I wouldn't be able to watch a single snap if I saw what was going on in the pass through the season within this Kentucky game, because you're right. Something they've excelled at is keeping their quarterbacks under pressure. And if there is anything that Jeff Brom and the rest of this coaching staff can take from watching UK's last game against Vandy is that, and you saw it against Tennessee too, is that if you have a quarterback with any life at all at throwing downfield, you can torch these guys. You can put up 40, you can put up 50 on them. Their secondary has holes all over the place. They're riddled with injury, just like we are. Ours are just a little more significant, but they've been getting beat like this before their injuries. So this seems like the game that even if you lose, which I know a lot of Louisville fans out there are fully expecting a loss at this point, there's so many injuries you can only come back from. This is the most frustrating thing about the SMU game is that whenever Deuce would finally get into a rhythm, you just felt his game was corked. Like, we just wouldn't dude, you have nothing to play for. We're down 3 touchdowns going into the fourth quarter, and we're throwing dump-offs. We're running the ball up the middle. We're running quarterback draws. Dude, let him open it up. Let him go downfield. Give him a shot. Let this dude get into a rhythm. We finally gave him a decent deep ball in the second half where he had wide open. I think it was Nate Carissi. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember. But wide open down the field, and he just sails him by maybe 3 or 4 feet. And those are one of those passes that if you've given him the opportunity earlier in the season, if you've let him build that chemistry with his wide receiver core, if you've let him get the reps in those high pressure situations, you make those throws. Those are just chemistry throws that he's not able to make. This is the game where this is where you get your paycheck. If you want guys to buy in to your system, you got to trust your players. In the past 3 or 4 games, it just looks like Jeff Brom hasn't trusted his offense, and that's just been so disappointing to see a team under Jeff Brom feel so handicapped and if you feel like they're chained down by the quarterback play.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it all year, whether that's been us complaining about our time management, especially with our 2-minute drills. We just don't do them. If we have a 2 minutes,
we don't even try.
We're just going to run the clock out, or at least just let the other team run the clock out. And I think the excuse has been there. We've been on Miller Moss's back for, about the whole season in terms of just the lack of aggressive play calling you can really make because you're so scared that he's going to make the turnover or make a play it cost you the game. But, like you said, there's nothing to lose in this game. The last thing I want to see is how, Clemson came out and played us, where it was screen pass, halfback dive, halfback draw, screen pass. Guys, let's just, let somebody prove they're somebody. You're going to have a lot of hungry dudes out there on the offense, whether that's Jennings coming out of the running back room. You're going to have to have a couple guys out of the wide receiver room and come up and make big time plays in the right spots. Just let the guys play. You're at the point now, morale I don't think could be lower around the
I don't think
program.
it's been this low in the past 5-6 years.
You got to give us some type of spark. Really, starting this year out, you kind of felt like, the sea was parting. The ACC hasn't had a weaker year in my recent memory. Your schedule is pretty easy. Majority of your games are at home, and it slipped away from you.
I think that's the most frustrating part is this was the year that you could grasp it. After winning at Miami, it was all out there in front of you for the taking. It wasn't even really for the taking. It was gifted to you. You were given an opportunity that 99% of college football is never going to get. And you play in a weak conference. Your one loss, which was a bad loss in the eyes of the fan base, was actually a great loss on resume. They ended up being a top 15 team. You couldn't have scrapped it any better. Louisville had a top 10 strength of resume in a conference that's as weak as they can be. And then you just didn't capitalize. You just didn't capitalize because whether you want to blame that on Miller Moss, whether you want to blame that on Jeff Brom, it's tough to say, and it's very heartbreaking because now next year, the thing that I keep pointing towards is, I don't know if you've seen it, but Virginia Tech is just they're putting almost billions of dollars in their football program next year.
Oh, they're putting their money where their mouth's at. It's crazy.
They're backing James Franklin more than they've got him incentives for making the playoff. They got him incentives for making the ACC championship game. He's already getting looked at by really a lot of highly touted recruits this coming season. He's gonna turn Virginia Tech around, and in a world with NIL and in a world with the transfer portal, you've seen it with Kurt Signetti that it can be done immediately. So I think a lot of Louisville fans are frustrated. Is why not us? We've been this close. Why are these small little issues holding us back from reaching that glory that we feel like we deserve? And Jeff Brom's gotten us there. this has been his first real skid as a head coach. We've had bad losses, we've had bad streaks, but this is the first skid he's had, and it just seems like you said, when it rains, it pours. Murphy's Law. I mean, whatever happens will happen, and everything happening right now seems to be terrible.
It's been such a crazy turnaround. I mean, we were talking about, you know, Jeff Brom getting a crazy extension a couple weeks ago. All the big schools are kind of, peeking their heads in, seeing kind of window shopping a little bit, to now the seat's not hot. For anybody who tells you the seat's hot, it's not. Jeff Brom's here to stay. That's no question.
Yeah, no.
But I'd be lying to you if there's some pressure here when it comes to next year, whether that's, are we finally going to settle down and develop a quarterback, whether that's Deuce or Brooks Cherry coming in? Or are we finally going to get somebody to gather around and really unite this program from the quarterback spot? Or are we going to go the transfer portal route again, where we don't really know what's going on? Because right now, I mean, we're 1-3 right now. I mean, Plummer had an okay season. Less the ACC championship, wasn't a world beater, was an okay game manager. Tyler Shuck, God bless that man. I wish he were back here in the red and white. And then you've had this year with Miller Moss. I think this program in the community around here, I think we just want to see another head guy at the helm as far as quarterback play, and having someone here for the next couple years. Because we just to give him the time. Let's give some flowers to Chris Bell. His Louisville career, it's probably wrapped up. He's probably done. We're not too sure the significantness of the injury. I heard maybe it's possibly, he might need surgery. I haven't heard too all much from it. But, I mean, he's one of the rare guys, in this NIL era where money talks. He stayed. He could have went to bigger programs. He stayed. And, gosh, what a year he's had. Almost broke 1,000 yards on the season with, average quarterback play. But I couldn't be more happier to see the leaps and bounds he's taken this year and seeing him climbed up draft boards.
And that's a really great point, and that alludes to some of the, not only flowers for Chris Bell, but we need to think of some positives with Jeff Brom and the fact that you got this dude to stay. You sold this dude on this team, not only him, but Isaac Brown and Duke Watson as well. You bring all these dudes back. Things didn't start out the way you wanted them to, and some of that was behind the running back room. Duke Watson didn't have a great season. Some of that was behind the offensive line. The offensive line had a horrible start to the year. It ended up getting picked up. Wide receivers, Colin Lacey didn't have the exact season you wanted at wide receiver, but he made up for it in the return game. He just got a finalist for the Jet Award this year. It was announced today. But Chris Bell, man, he was that dude who, you're right, in this time of if you have a good season, you leave. You have a bad season, you leave. He stayed. He developed his game, and he finally became the wide receiver that we've been talking about for the past 3 years, who's been shadowed by Ja'Cory Brooks and Jamari Thrash. He finally became the guy, and man, did he step up. He didn't only step up his game itself, but he adapted. You could tell how bought into this he was, because he adapted his own play and his own strategies to success based around Jeff Brom and Miller Moss. We talked about it all season, that, gosh, all we want is to see one deep ball to Chris Bell every once in a while, one good post route for Chris Bell. Let him use his athleticism, let him use his size to go up. But Miller Moss just doesn't have that in his bag, and Chris Bell sat back, ran the curl routes, ran the digs, ran the out routes, used his talent to help Miller Moss out. That's why we saw him get targeted game in and game out. And it really sucks, because I know there's people out there saying that we wasted him, and we did not waste him. The dude.
Look, I'm going to tell my grandkids about week 1 through week 6 Chris Bell.
Yes.
That was a crazy stretch. I'm surprised the dude's not a double amputee right now with the amount of slants, dig routes, and just intermediate routes he ran. Because, those my knees are sore thinking about it.
We got a text here on the Gameday Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450 if you guys want to get in and talk to me and Grant here. It's from my dad, actually. Which, Grant, I know you love Mr. Troy Childress. Hello, all. Producer Matt's dad here. Hey, Matt. And I like how he addressed me as my first name. And welcome, Grant. I think we definitely need some good vibes tonight after all the wonderful football news and lady cards going down. But our men, little typo here, our men pulled it out over Cincy. Side note, your pictures of the game Friday were awesome. You lucky little bleep, LOL, Dad. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it.
I don't know why that sounds like an AI chat bot.
It kind of does. when you brought up Zugris earlier, I sat here thinking, and Dad, you can take this however you want. Do you think Zugris kind of plays basketball like my dad?
Oh man, it's
like 100% effort all the time. The execution is just not really there.
Yeah, 100% effort all the time. In the face, he doesn't look like he doesn't really know what's going on. It's full speed, no breaks. I think your dad just has maybe a little bit more muscle than Big Zoo, but
that's a good shout out, Dad. You should take that to heart. That's actually crazy to think that you probably have more muscle than the man with the tightest fitting clothing in all of the state of Kentucky.
Hey, that's another thing they got in common.
Once Zuger starts wearing V-necks, then maybe they'll be about the same. Oh, before we wrap up this segment, what are your final thoughts leading the Kentucky game? What do you think Louisville needs to do to win this game? And if you have any hope in this game at all, what are you looking for in this game particularly? What would make you feel, besides a win, the most positive going into the offseason?
I mean, this really is. Realistically, when I'm thinking this might be one of the worst Governor's Cups we've seen in a hot
it's
minute.
A toilet bowl.
It's the battle of the dumpster heap. But really, I just want to see something that makes me think about the future. Let me see Deuce Adams, and let's see the playbook open up a little bit for the first time in a little bit this season. Whether that's down the field passing and running a little bit more of kind of some double routes, whether it's running a little bit more trickery and misdirection, like we have been in years past. Just show me something to get off of, because right now with the injury report, it's a tough pill to swallow. Morale really isn't high in terms of getting a dub, but let the boys play. Let's see what we're made of.
I'm right there with you. Like you said, we have nothing to lose. It's the Kentucky game. You kind of have a lot to lose. Jeff Brom knows what this means. But at the same time, it's a Kentucky team that, they don't even want their coach. Most of them don't even want to win. Most of them want to lose this game because they want Mark Stoops out so badly, understandably. So this is the one where I feel like if we lost, a lot of Louisville fans out there, they're good. There's still a lot that, this would really suck, and you don't want to see us lose to a Kentucky team that's that bad. But it's one of those where your hopes and your expectations have just been absolutely just throttled because of what's happened in these last 3 football games. So I'm right there with you. I want to see us let Deuce Adams go out there and let this man throw the pill around.
Let's spin it.
Let him spin it. Let him go. Just deep route. We got Trayshawn Hurry on this team. This dude is a deep threat by himself. He's barely gotten a chance.
Collins, big guy, can go up and make a couple
plays. Collins.
You got some pieces there. There's no reason to just throw in the towel now. You got athletes on this team. It's just a matter of if you want to grab it or if you just want to play one of those games where you're just waiting to die.
I'm looking at, like I said, Deuce Adams. I'm also going to take a long look at Braxton Jennings. I think we saw a lot of good stuff out of Braxton Jennings in the past game against SMU and some of his games earlier in the season, where I know that SMU doesn't have the greatest run defense in the country, but at the end of the day, we've seen him run with a lot of toughness. He's your basic power back. He's going to get you 3 or 4 yards every time you need it. And he's a dude who's going to be here. He's a dude who's not going to request a bunch of NIL. And if you can have a guy who, isn't going to get the start over an Isaac Brown or a Duke Watson, obviously, but still play with that kind of heart and that kind of aggression and get you that kind of output in a game where you weren't even expecting him to be called on, I feel like it can be a big deal. And you're going to need to go to the portal a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of guys you're going to be losing. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be replaced. So the best possible scenario is that we keep Deuce Adams going into next season and he becomes our starting quarterback, and you can kind of build Briggs Cherry underneath him, kind of give somebody who's been in the system, knows the system well, and then mold Briggs Cherry into his sophomore year, and he can kind of be your man lead. And that would start a really good pattern of, the wheels are turned in the Jeff Brom era. 3 years, 4 years in, now you've got your quarterbacks rolling. The quarterback whisperer is finally speaking up. He's talking a little louder. He's talking for the people in the back. But if you got to go to the portal again,
hey, I'm just saying, if the California kid's picking up the phone, I can contradict myself right now. I'll take it.
I wouldn't be too upset, but it still would be alarming. I want to see Deuce. I want to see him succeed. But at the end of the day, if he's not good, he's not good. We'll find out this week. But that's going to take us to the end of this segment. We will be here right back here in just a few minutes. We're gonna talk a little Cincinnati basketball again. I know we got into the little EMU section here with Grant, but I want his takes on how we did against UC in a renewed old rivalry. So 502-414-1450. Text it on the Game Day Menzel text line if you want to talk to us. We'll be right back here on Mondays with Dalton Pence on the Big X. Welcome back in. This is the final segment of Mondays with Dalton Pence, but with a little sidetrack set of Matt and Grant here. This is a pretty nice Monday night, actually, on November 24th. It's not too cold. It's one of those times of the year where you're just kind of waiting for it to get freezing cold. You just don't check the weather one day and you walk out and it's like -10. And then you're like, oh, well, I guess fall and everything's finally over. But just like football season, we're getting close. It's almost over. We're going to look forward to something a little more positive in this segment. And I honestly don't know how you get any more positive than a win over your second biggest rival and your first, not jokingly, quality win of the season against number 2 Ken Palm defense Cincinnati. I mean, the dudes look great. Especially, my number one takeaway from this game was that we got punched in the mouth immediately. It looked like we were completely discombobulated. It looked like we were completely confused as to how to adjust our offense to a defense as stout as Cincinnati's, which we knew they were good, but hadn't played any really tough competition yet, so we didn't know how good. This is a really good defense. They got a lot of length. They got a lot of size. They play extremely physical. We saw that on how they played Michael Brown in this game. They tried to get him, like Dalton said earlier, kind of play that Kansas route where try to get him take shots early in the shot clock, try to get him take tough shots. And I felt he bounced back. I felt like he excelled from what we saw against Kansas in terms of, finding a way to score, finding a way to get involved, finding a way to help his teammates get involved in a game where he didn't pass the ball particularly well for a little bit. He didn't shoot particularly well for a lot of this game. Grant, how did you feel going down? We were down 11 early on, starting 0 of 8 from the field. What were your feelings right before we went on that run? Were you feeling like, oh, here we go again, this is Ole Miss, this is Tennessee? Or what was your confidence level going to that moment?
So, I mean, really, with the high-powered offense that we have, there honestly, for the first time in a while, there really wasn't a whole lot of doubt. It was more of like a when's it going to happen? Who's going to be the spark to do it? Because, I mean, it's been years since we've really played them in this type of setting. I mean, dude, that style of game never left. I mean, that was like an old-school Louisville-Cincinnati game, just extremely physical. People are blitzing ball screens. It's handsy. There's contact at the rim. I mean, really, this was everything I wanted from this game. I kind of wanted not necessarily like a barn burner, but like I wanted to like tough one out. And Cincinnati, they threw punches, but we responded well. Like you've already mentioned it before, Mikal, I mean, had a rough go the first half in terms of filling the game out because I mean they were body checking him all over the place and really catching him on the pick and rolls. But he found his spaces and his times to shine in the second half, got himself to the line to get going. But again, I don't think I can give him much more love than I already have this season. But man, Ryan Conwell, like I'm ready to put the jersey in the rafters already. I love this guy, Mr. Consistent, silent killer. I couldn't tell you more than 2 or 3 buckets he ever has in the game, but God, he's gonna give you 26.
This was his first loud game.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even loud until the second half when you looked at the box score, like, oh my God, this guy's got 20 points. And then he obviously hit some really big shots down at the end, which made it a little bit louder.
I mean, just timely 3 balls. I mean, whether it's off the dribble, 1-2 side shuffle, one side shuffle pop. I was really happy with it. Again, I mentioned it before at the 6:15 spot. Frew is, he's impressing me more and more every game. His speed of the game is getting there. His feet and his hands are there. He had a great couple of rolls finishing through contact. I couldn't have been more happy with the outcomes because we've talked about it the last couple of weeks of, when we're finally not shooting well or we're not getting the right shots up, what's going to happen? Are we going to stick defense and, get to the free throw line, or are we just going to live and die by the 3? And they showed you they got grit.
They did, and that's what makes me feel so great about this team because one of the big questions was, okay, in a game this year, just like Kansas, but that counts in the regular season, we're going to get punched in the mouth first. There's going to be teams out there that game plan well for us and kind of have Pat Kelsey's number early on, and we're going to have to adjust. And how can this team do that? How fast can it do that? And this was as good of a sample size as you can possibly get in a college basketball game where you go down big early. A lot of teams give up, and it's too tough to shoot out of that, especially against a defense that wasn't allowing you to shoot. They know your identity is that if you're going to claw back into games, you're going to do it behind the three-point line, and we got it done from inside. We closed the game out from behind the arc, which was nice, but you brought up Sonata Frew, and this guy, it seems like he's just getting better every game. He's got to get his feet wet a little bit in the game. He's got to get moving. He's got to get into a rhythm of this speed of basketball, which he's not particularly used to fully yet. I feel like there's a couple things in there that you kind of see the Euro ball come out of him, and it's a lot of those low block offensive opportunities where the dude's almost 7 foot tall, 200 and something pounds. He's huge. And you're like, gosh, if you just dunk the ball right there, that's an and one for free. Somebody's going to have to hack you. But then he'll kind of do like an up and under. He'll kind of get put a little English on it.
He's got a lot of finesse for a big guy.
He's got
a really soft touch. He's got great hands and great feet. He's going to give you a dunk every once in a while. But yeah, like you said, it might be the European part of the game. But I mean, between this and the Kentucky game, it's these games where like every time he's now on the floor, I'm yelling at the TV for where he's at. And that's no disrespect to Ali or any one of the front court players, but like Frew, he's like that presence is it's getting clicked on a little bit more and more every game.
How did you feel about the minutes from Kenai coming off the bench?
Again, it's one of those things where he has to figure out his role in this whole system. Whether that's he's going to be realistically a 3-and-D guy and a cutter. Because I mean, really, if Kenai is shooting 30% from three, this team might be unbeatable. Just from the athleticism and poise he brings on there. But, you're on a team where it's offensive firepower everywhere you see. Kenai's not going to get too many, like, one-on-one looks or plays drawn up for him. Like, he's going to have to make something happen with the cuts he has off ball and how he's moving around. But he'll learn to play. He'll learn to play in this system. I mean, it's got a lot of moving parts. He just has to figure out where he fits in this system.
I think so too. I have been impressed with him. He came off of those two big games against nobody teams, and we had the 20-point double-double from Kenai, and it seemed like this guy was on path to make the jump, in which I still think he definitely can. We haven't really gotten the opportunity in one of these big games yet. He got more minutes in this game than I thought he was going to get, but I like that he's developed his game not always on the offensive end. I feel like he came in and he added a lot defensively using his length and his athleticism to kind of contest their bigs and Baba Miller and I always forget Chow. God, it's seeing his name spelled Thiaw and it's pronounced like Chaw.
Oh yeah,
it keeps throwing me off in my head. But I feel like he did really well in that sense of kind of holding the low block down and spreading the floor a little bit, at least being the threat from out there that Ali couldn't unfortunately do in this game. I felt like Frew did a really great job of keeping those big dudes off the block, being physical and kind of pushing them outside the restricted area, forcing them to make.
Come clean it up. Because I mean, really, if you look at the stats, Frew's not jumping off the stat line as far as like he's getting 8, 9, 10 rebounds. He kind of clears the paint for the guards to come in and clean up shop. But for me, like Kenai really, he has to find his rhythm in transition. If he wants to be able to like show a little bit more of his stuff and his creativity, on the run is where he's going to have to go as a cutter to the rim. Oh, I mean, I don't want to say like acting as a big man and just rim running, but you got to be able to use that athleticism because he can rise over the top of anybody, runs like a gazelle. He just got to find his spots, and it's tough when you got 5 or 6 dudes every night in double digits.
Yeah, and we saw it a little bit in that game. It was late in the second half. He gets the ball off of a pass from I think it was Isaac McNeely, where he pump fakes, gets the defender to kind of jump on him, blows by, and then hits that really nice Euro step around 2 defenders, and then lays it up with I thought he got fouled and didn't get called, but like that's a pro move. That's a pro move. It's one that in that kind of situation, I think we're only up 2 at that point, where that's a bucket you need to get. You need to kind of extend the lead here a little bit, and he does it calm, cool, and collected like he's done it 100 times. And if we can get that out of him on a regular basis, like you said, this team has so much depth, and unlike the team up the road, the depth is actually really good, and didn't cost you $22 million.
That's a lot of money. My God.
Another player I want to give flowers to is I think the dude is getting better every single game. I think if Mike said it on his show earlier, by February this guy's going to be a completely different player, and I completely agree.
You better say my man.
That's Adrian Woolley.
Thank you.
It's Adrian Woolley.
I don't care what it is. There have been times where I've been talking to my dad, and he didn't watch the game, and he'd be like, "Who played well?" And I'm like, "Adrian Woolley." And I'll go look at the stats, and he's got, 6 points and 4 boards.
It's like 2 for 6.
And like I just think every time he plays, dude, I love the feeling of his game, man. It's twitchy. He knows how to get into his spots. He can hit the 3 ball off the dribble, works well. He's got a big body. He's athletic. I'm just waiting for him to make just that next leap where you have to take him seriously as a double-digit threat every night.
And the thing is, this dude's coming off the bench. He's only a sophomore, so we're gonna see him again. He's gonna come back unless he absolutely has a blow out of the water. March Madness, win a national championship, and goes crazy.
Yeah.
Then maybe NIL gets a little expensive. But this is a dude who you can kind of count on to come back next season and develop even further.
Oh, really, realistically, this is your starting guard next year. He's only going to get better, and honestly, he's learning from a lot of veteran leadership right now in terms of because really, at Kennesaw State, he was on the ball heavy.
He's really great defensively.
A lot of off the dribble pull ups, a lot of shot making creativity. I would like to see what type of relationship he's been kind of building with Isaac and Ryan Conwell in terms of because those two guys are excellent off the ball in terms of their ability to read screens, help side defense. I think if he can build that next aspect of the game, it's just going to take his scoring efficiency even higher.
I think you're right. I'm excited to see where he goes. Another guy to shout out really quick, which we're getting to the end here. Kobe Rogers, the dude isn't the most offensive prowess in the world, but when he comes in, he's so just smothering defensively that you almost don't care if he scores points or not. Like, he just gives every single dude he's guarding hell, and it's just so much fun to watch. We got one more text here on the Game Day Men's Health text line at 502-414-1450. Eric from Denver here. This is my uncle, so my dad and uncle are both getting on the show. Appreciate you guys. Broncos beating the Chiefs. Colts losing during our bye. Control our own destiny for the number 1 seed. Go Broncos. You're going to be the Patriots first, big fella. And let me tell you, Drake May is going out there doing that thing. If I'm putting Drake May against Bo Nix, I know Grant's a big Bo Nix guy.
I would say what you want. Drake May's a liar, man.
I'm taking Drake May every time. Drake May is going out there and he's piecing you up.
You're telling me he don't know what first take is? Lies.
Not a good show. Terrible show. Not even not the number 1 show.
Them getting offended over it was so funny.
It was so petty.
It made me like Drake May even more.
Before we head out of here, give me a prediction for this game. What's the score? Or do you think it's going to be the leading score?
Yeah, I'm going with Eastern Michigan's not going to – they just don't have a high-profile, high-volume shooting offense. I think it'll look very similar to the pace of the game with Ohio. I think Eastern Michigan is just going to run out of gas within the second half. I'm going to go with a 94-64 victory.
Okay. I like that.
And then leading scorer, I'm going to go with Isaac McNeely.
I like that. I don't mind that at all. I'm going to go a little more than you. I'm going to say we go back and we break the 100-point mark again this season. I'm going to say we go 104-72. This has been Mondays with Dalton Pence. I appreciate you guys for listening in. This has been Matt Childers and Grant Skaggs. Hopefully you get to hear us again. Thanks a lot, guys. Go Cards.
Go Cards, baby.